Hey guys, it's Billy. How's everybody doing? Coming at you today with another video. This won't be a quick one. I was about to say coming at you today with another quick video, country update, but there's nothing about this going to be quick. I'm going to try and move through this because there's a lot. If you look back maybe a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, um, I did a country music update, vinyl update, kind of country edition, part one, and this is part two as promised. This is just stuff that I picked up over the last 6 months. I just got so far behind and with work and everything, wasn't able to make videos like I wanted or like I needed to. So this is stuff, like I said, that I've picked up over the last 6 months or so. Gonna rip through this and finally get through all this. Some of this is VCLT. Some of it was picked up through online purchases. Some of it was picked up at local stores or shops. First, though, before I get started, I want to bring attention to something that was just kind of brought to my attention through Beth at over at B-Side Records. Beth had left a comment on one of my videos, my vinyl tag, I believe it was, and I went to, you know how you get the notifications, you can just see like part of the comment, especially if it's a detailed long comment, and so I was able to read the first couple sentences, and then I went and clicked on it and it was gone. I don't know what happened. Either way, that's neither here nor there, but I went to her page because I was going to try and leave a comment on one of her videos, but I noticed on her page at the top, you know, everybody has the cover photo at the top of your main YouTube page, and in the corner of that you can now put links. I don't know if that's something that's just recently been brought to my attention or if it's something that YouTube has allowed us to do for some time. I've never done that, but anyway, Beth had her Discogs profile link up in the top corner of her YouTube page, so it's easy to get a hold of people that way. As you guys know, YouTube has made it virtually impossible. You know, they've taken seems like every step imaginable to have us not communicate with each other. I don't know why. Either way, it's always been a pain in the butt. But this way now, you can have your link to your Discogs page, which I have since updated. So if anybody needs to get a hold of me, or you want to just reach out, talk, whatever, ask questions, feel free to communicate through my Discogs page, which you can also, you know, look through my collection. You can look through, which it's not completely updated. There's only like, I don't know. It's only partially updated. I've still got a lot of cassettes and a lot of, none of my CDs are in there yet. And a lot of my LPs still need to get in there. But the majority of all this stuff behind you, that you see behind me, is in there, and all my rock and metal's in there as well. But anyway, getting off track, which is what I do. You can check out my Discogs profile, check out my my want list, things in my want list for those of you that care. It's an easy way to see what people want or what people need. Sure, there's some expensive stuff on there, but there's also some, you know, I'm trying to complete my Kiss reissues. So there's some, you know, there's a lot of stuff on there that's not expensive. But it's a good way to get a hold of people is what I'm saying. So I basically have my link to my Discogs profile, as well as there's an email. You can now put your email on there for people to just straight out email you. So that's great. I didn't know if you guys were aware. I wasn't aware until this morning, so I wanted to share that with you guys. Anyway, let's jump into this part two of my country vinyl update. Stuff I've picked up over the last 6 months. This stuff was purchased from an online seller in the UK. This is a extraordinarily hard LP to find. I actually got a copy of this from Dots and Loops. This was sent to me in a trade that we did sometime, maybe around this time last year, maybe a little bit later. But anyway, this was sent to me, and this is an upgrade to that. There was just a couple minor issues, but still a great album to have in the collection. As soon as I saw this pop up in my Discogs want list, there are notifications that it was available, I went ahead and popped for this. And I'm glad I actually looked, because this particular seller had obviously with overseas sellers, the shipping is where they get you. But the more you shop, the more you save. So I looked through their stuff, their items for sale, and you could get up to 4 or 5. I think it was 4 or 5 albums for the same shipping. So what was great is they did have a lot of those '90s country pressings. This is actually a UK or a German pressing, I believe. Yeah, this is a German pressing of Dwight Yoakam, Just Looking for a Hit. And in shrink with the price tag on there. Nice addition to the collection. Another one that was really nice to have. This is another German pressing of Clint Black's Put Yourself in My Shoes. Probably my favorite. I don't know. It's right up there, a toss-up with Killin' Time and Put Yourself in My Shoes. But really nice pressing to add to the collection. I have a regular U.S. pressing or a record club pressing of that as well. Trisha Yearwood. This is a super tough record to find. What a great record, a phenomenal record. Trisha Yearwood, or Miss Yearwood as Garth refers to her. This is her solo debut, like she's ever been in a group. I don't know why I said solo, but this is actually a where was this one pressed? This one, another German pressing here. And then lastly, Marty Stewart, Hillbilly Rock. This is the album that actually turned me on and introduced me to, it didn't turn me on that way, but introduced me to Marty Stewart and his music. Phenomenal album, great talent, and this guy really carries the flag for country music and its history. A super photographer as well, too. He loves photography, loves the history of photography as well. This is a U.S. pressing that was actually imported to the UK. So there you have it. Those were some really cool finds. Moving right along, I got some VCLT from my buddy Steve, Harmless Rebel, and he knew I had been looking for this Neil Young Old Ways album for a long time, a couple years now, pretty much. And used to be I would see it all the time before I thought I liked Neil Young, back when I thought I hated everything Neil Young ever did. Used to see this all the time, and pretty affordable as well. Never fails, and anytime you want to try and start looking for something, they're gone. And then Steve called me one day and said, "Hey, did you ever end up getting that Neil Young Old Ways?" I'm like, "No, still can't find it." Of course, I could have went online and just ordered it, but it was one of those that I knew I would eventually find. But Steve found it for me, so thank you for sending this over to me, Steve. That was much appreciated. He sent some other things that will be in other updates as well, but this is another thing that he sent, because Steve always sends the coolest stuff. He sends metal, rock, classic rock, country. He's a lot like me. He mixes a lot of it up. But this was a great box set. I got three or four LP box set. I'm not sure. I don't want to. Does it say here? Either way, King and Queen of Country. You got Johnny Cash and Tammy Wynette. This was a really cool compilation box set. Didn't have that, Steve. Thank you so much for that. Then a couple things that I just picked up at my shop. Trusty Chords. This is Merle Haggard. These are the reissues, the new reissues, live in Austin, Texas, from Austin City Limits. And these are on really cool splatter vinyl. Really nice. They're an indie record store exclusive. So glad to add that Haggard and this Waylon. Again, this is I really love this vinyl here. The color of this one. It's a blue splatter. Nice. Really good set list here. There's Waylon, live from Austin, Texas, Austin City Limits. And then one other, and that's the indie exclusive as well. This one was not the indie exclusive, but this is a double LP, Chris Christopherson, and really good. It only has 3 sides to it, but some excellent material, a great show. Glad to have that. That's on standard black vinyl. Then I saw this was going to be reissued, and was very, very excited about that. I think I saw Headley show this back when it was released. Love this. Todd Snyder, East Nashville Skyline. Really good stuff. If you like, the Townes Van Zandt, the Guy Clark, Steve Earle, Springsteen type stuff. Robert Earl Keen. Gosh, the list goes on and on and on. Great singer-songwriter. Definitely underappreciated in my book. Now, don't laugh, but I have had for quite some time actually had a love and admiration for Taylor Swift and her music. So I'm adding her things to. I've been trying to add a lot of her limited presses because Taylor does some really cool things. She not only gets her catalog out on vinyl, but she does limited color press runs and things like that through her website or through various different retail outlets. And this is numbered out of 3750. And this is her debut, her country debut, self-titled, with the hit Tim McGraw and Picture to Burn, Teardrops on My Guitar. Let's see what else. Should Have Said No, Our Song. So many great songs on here. Just a really, really great album. And I don't remember what color vinyl. I should have put a sticker on here. But anyway, this is either clear or something, but this is the limited edition color vinyl on that. And like I said, I'm trying to get all the Taylor Swift pressings, and I have all of them except for 1989. 1989 is probably one that I may not ever find. That thing was a Record Store Day release from like 2 years ago, and they're just crazy through the roof. I'm looking for them, but there's none for sale, and the ones that are just so expensive. Not that these are cheap, but man, I don't know. I'll keep looking. Maybe eventually one will fall on my lap, but that's the only one I need from this point on. Had a couple of you guys message me and reach out about my thoughts on this new Luke Combs follow-up to This Is What You See Is What You Get. This is his follow-up to his hugely successful This One's For You, his debut. And I got this, I think it was released on December 6th, and fell in love with it on the first listen. It's just a great album. Double LP, 17 songs. This is the Walmart blue vinyl exclusive. I actually have the black vinyl, and I was able to, fortunately, able to find this blue vinyl exclusive, which these things are selling pretty crazy. I think there were limited edition. I'm not sure, but I want to say there were 2,500, 2,000 or 3,000 of these made, which, Luke Combs is a lot like Eric Church. His fans are pretty rabid, and they snag up his stuff right away. So I was glad to be able to get this blue vinyl exclusive. But just talking about the album, it's a killer album. Love it. There's only like 2 songs on there that I skip. But when you got 17 songs, that's going to happen. These next couple were sent to me by Dan over at Dots and Loops. We're working on another trade, and he actually kind of sent the stuff over to me before I was ready to send him his stuff. So this is a really nice, really nice condition album of Waylon and Willie in shrink. Really nice, Dan. Definitely an upgrade to what I had in the collection. And then a sealed copy. Of course, you see this album everywhere, but a nice sealed copy with the hype of Alabama's 40-Hour Week. Thank you for that, Dan. Let's see. And again, there are other things in other videos, like my rock and metal update that I'm going to be doing here shortly with other pieces from the VCLT or trade from Dan. So thank you for that, Dan. This was the beauty of the thing. Well, this and one other thing, which I won't give away yet. But this, I was so stoked to see this. Graham Parsons. I think I may have showed this in. If you guys follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or which I don't use Twitter. I just use Twitter as it automatically updates from my Instagram. So whenever I post on Instagram, it goes to Twitter and Facebook as well. So if you're friends with me on Facebook or Instagram, you will have seen this. This Graham Parsons. What a excellent album, and it's a beautiful, beautiful pressing, an early pressing. Not sure, I don't remember if this is a first pressing. If not, it's a very, very early pressing. So thank you for that, Dan. That is really greatly appreciated. Excuse me. Glad to see Keith Urban. He's always been really good about. There goes the color balance. Watch. Throw up something blue. I need to lock that in. I know you can do it on cameras on digital SLRs, but I'm filming this on my iPhone. I don't know if that technology is available on the iPhone or not, but anyway, white balance lock, auto exposure lock, things like that. Keith Urban's been really good about putting out and keeping his catalog and discography updated on vinyl, and this was great. Nice debut. Finally reissued on vinyl. Like I said, this has been out for a few months. These are things that I've had for a while, so glad to add that. And then Be Here. Great album. Killer album. Love Keith's stuff. Some of it is kind of hit or miss, but the majority is really, really good. And of course, Defying Gravity. Now, this did have an original vinyl pressing when it originally came out in, what was 2009, 2010? 2009. So this is a 10th anniversary reissue. Those original pressings of Defying Gravity are just super through the roof as far as price is concerned. So I'm happy with that one. Let's see. Vince Gill, Okie. This I don't believe this cracked my top 10 country albums of the year, but it was right there. It was very, very close. A really, really awesome album by Vince that came out in 2019. Up here. Starting to get a pretty good stack. And then speaking of reissues, this is When I Call... No, not When I Call Your Name. This is When Love Finds You. When I Call Your Name is next. So, Vince Gill, the great album. What is this, from 94? Yeah, 1994 release, When Love Finds You. Just an unbelievably killer album. Probably my favorite Vince Gill album. It's either this or When I Call Your Name. But, whenever you come around, you better think twice. What the Cowgirls Do, When Love Finds You. Maybe Tonight, Which Bridge to Cross, Which Bridge to Burn, and Go Rest High on That Mountain. Killer album. And this is a Cracker Barrel exclusive, I believe. Yes, Cracker Barrel exclusive on that one. And then, so glad that in December, I think it was either late November or December, they finally reissued When Love Finds You. When I Call Your Name. I do have an original pressing of this. This was pressed through record clubs in the States back in, when was this, 93? No, golly, 1989. Man, I am old. When this was originally released in 1989, so it did have a record club pressing, which I do have. It's a little bit dinged up on the corners, not this one, but the original. And this is great. It has Oklahoma Swing, When I Call Your Name, Never Knew Lonely, which is probably one of my favorite Vince Gill songs. And then Rita Ballou, an old Guy Clark song, which is killer. Let's see. VCLT from my buddy Ernie Eldridge, who is kind of a stalker to the vinyl community. He watches a lot of our videos. We just got to get him on board making his own videos. I keep saying that. He's really great. We're Facebook friends. He's constantly showing me things that he's picked up, asking me things that I need. And he's really keen on things that I may like. So he sends me some of this outlaw underground Texas type, singer-songwriter, but more of the outlaw movement stuff that he knows that I dig. And this is Steve Young's Renegade Picker from 1976. And this was in the shrink when he sent it to me, but the shrink was just so nasty. I just went ahead and pulled it off because the cover is really nice. Aside from a cat or a mouse or something kind of chewing on this, the vinyl is pristine on this. Great record. Thank you for that, Ernie. He sent me a few more things. Rusty Weir, This is Black Hat Saloon. I have not heard this one. I have a couple pieces of by Rusty in my collection that I really do love. Matter of fact, I had an album by Rusty in my 50 album challenge that I did last spring or last summer, whenever it was, and really did enjoy that. I think I enjoyed the first side a lot more than I did the second side, but this is cool. Can't wait to get that. And this was the highlight of the VCLT from Ernie. John Conley, American Faces. This is from 1987, I believe. Yeah, 1987. John Conley, just a tremendous voice in the country community. Love John's stuff. You know, he sings to the common man because he is a common man, and I love his stuff. Thank you for that, Ernie. I needed that in the collection big time. That filled a huge hole. Moving right along, Jon Pardi, a guy that I have always associated with bro country. So I went backwards in his catalog. I picked up his newest album and loved it. Just basically on my friends, a couple friends' insistence that I picked it up, and so I did, and really enjoyed it. Matter of fact, it made the top 5 of my country top 10 country albums, top 10 country albums of last year. So I'm going backwards and getting his stuff, and this is his debut. This is Capitol Records from 2015, 2014, something like that. Definitely more bro country. The thing I like about John is the thing that's actually kept me away from him for the longest time is he started out with that bro country, but with every release he's gotten further and further away from it. This album's going to be... I probably won't listen to this album. If we're being honest, I won't listen to this album very much. I gave it a spin and really didn't enjoy it that much. But just for collectability's sake and having everything in his discography, and these are out of print. They're getting super hard to find. So as his stardom continues to rise, demand for these will go up as well. So I had to have it. Figure get it now, get it out of the way while I can. This one I was really glad to pick up. Still a little bit on that bro country side. This is his last album, but before his new one, so a second album, yeah, second on Capitol. This is from when was this? 2016, California Sunrise, and this is the limited edition. I don't know if it was an indie record store exclusive or what it was, but it's a limited edition orange. It's a really nice orange like that, orange vinyl. Really cool. Glad to have that. There was only one for sale on Discogs, so was glad to be able to get that. And this is the album that started it all for me for Jon Pardi. This is his newest album, Heartache Medication. Really good stuff. Some great songs. There's a couple stinkers on here, but really good. He's moving more, starting to lean more to the countryside. If you want a more detailed description of this album, check out my country music top 10 albums of 2019. Jon Pardi, I think he came in at number 5. Spoiler alert. Let's see. Got a few more here, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. Trisha Yearwood. This is Every Girl. This is her 2019 release. Is it great? No. Is it good? Yes. Trisha Yearwood can just flat out sing. The songs aren't all that great. The production's top notch, and Trisha sings great. So glad to add that to the collection. I always am happy to see these October awareness, the 10 bands for the cause that they do, the reissues and the releases on pink vinyl limited edition. This is John Prine. In Spite of Ourselves, really happy that they did this one last October. I think they do those in October or November. October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I would figure it would be October. And then you guys know what I think about Colter Wall. This is his self-titled debut. Absolutely love this. And for them to release this on the 10 Bands for the Cause on the pink vinyl, it was a no-brainer. I almost got 2, but I didn't. Got 1. This one I found while digging in Washington, D.C. when we were up there for the National League Championship Series. Thanks to the Nationals for sweeping us. I had an extra day in D.C. I was able to dig. And this is Keys to the Highway from Rodney Crowell. This is a it's a late 80s, 1989. 1989 release. So these things are impossible to find. Hole punch, it's got the delete punch here. But let's see, I'm trying to think. Many a Long and Lonesome Highway was the big hit off here. That's the only one that's ringing a bell at this point. I love Rodney Crowell, so I'm sure I haven't listened to this yet, haven't spun it, but it's in great condition. Looked like it had never been played. Happy to have that one. And then speaking of Rodney Crowell, this was phenomenal. Almost cracked my top 10 albums of the year. This is his newest release from 2019, Texas. Really, really good stuff. Let's see. I feel like I have talked about this before, but it's basically Rodney and his heroes. People that he wants to do some collaborations with, and so there's one on here with Randy Rogers and Leanne Womack. There's a song with Vince Gill. 56 Fury is killer with Billy Gibbons. Another great song is a compilation with Ronnie Dunn, Willie Nelson, and Leanne Womack. He's got a song on here with Ringo Starr, Lyle Lovett, Steve Earle, and John Jorgensen. So really great. If you're a fan of any of those guys, I suggest you pick this up. You won't be disappointed. Really killer album. I believe this was another thing I found while in DC. I'm not 100% sure at this point, but this is a early, if not a first pressing on Atco, a very early pressing of Jerry Jeff Walker's Mr. Bojangles. In really, really great shape. I was glad that I was able to add that one. Aside from a little bit of discoloring on the side, the vinyl was in pristine condition. Glad to add that one to the collection. These guys I was turned on to from a DJ friend of mine, knowing that I am a huge fan of 90s country. He's like, you've got to get into Midland. And I stayed away from him for so long because I kind of categorized them in that bro country thing. By the way, Helmet Diggy, Bill, he's like, I have no clue what bro country is. Bro country is like like very obnoxious hip hop beats, songs that have no meaning or substance whatsoever, singing about tailgates and pouring a little sugar in the Dixie cup. All the lyrics are predictable. They all sound the same. The guys are singing real whiny and nasally and more about looks and image than substance. That's bro country, I guess. So, Midland, I was associated with these guys with bro country, but I couldn't have been further from the truth. Really, really good stuff. Have a really great 90s country sound. I think they came in as an honorable mention or somewhere in the top 10 of their new release. That's their older release, but their new release. Townes Van Zandt, For Sake of the Song. This is a reissue. I've been picking up the reissues when I can. Find them at a reasonable price. Just because they sound so great. This one is done by Fat Possum Records. They do a really good job on their reissues, so I try and pick these up whenever I can. Love me some Townes Van Zandt. I saw my buddy Steve just recently showed this, Rascal Flatts, Greatest Hits, Volume 1. While I'm not the hugest Rascal Flatts fan, I love a lot of their early stuff, and this is primarily loaded with all their early stuff, starting with Praying for Daylight, and then going all the way through Summer Nights Live, Me and My Gang Live. Matter of fact, the Disc 2, Side B is all live. Take Me There, Winner to Losing Game, Me and My Gang, and Summer Nights Live. But then they go through their thing from Praying for Daylight through like Stand and Life is a Highway, My Wish, What Hurts the Most, which is killer, Skin, the Sarah Beth, Fast Cars and Freedom, God Bless the Broken Road, Feels Like Today, Mayberry, I Melt, These Days, and a great Jeffrey Steele written song, I'm moving on. Really, really fantastic stuff there. And then last but not least, again, guys, thanks for tuning in there. I knew I'd come in right about 30 minutes. This is the reissue from, I think, 2016. Yeah, 2016. So the 10th anniversary, I believe. Yep, 10th anniversary reissue of LeAnn Rimes Blue. It's on that kind of that, I guess, teal, aqua, cobalt blue, whatever you want to call it, vinyl. So more that color. Really, really cool. Love this stuff. Say what you will, think what you will about LeAnn Rimes, but some of her early stuff that she put out from probably the first 3 or 4 releases, I really dug, really loved it. So there's my vinyl update, part 2. So much great stuff. Like I said, be looking forward to seeing. I still have a basic vinyl update, which is just a hodgepodge of everything, and then I have a hard rock and heavy metal update that I'm going to be doing as well. Good news: the cassette storage shelves have been completed. They've been built. They've been painted. They've been hung on the wall, and the organization has started. I have the hard rock and heavy metal section done. I'm going to basically, so I split my collection into 3 parts. Things that I listen to the most are hard rock and heavy metal and country music. So those have their own kind of areas, and then everything in between is everything else. So it's just easy for me to correlate it that way. So that's how I set up my my cassette collection. Same way. There's a hard rock and heavy metal side or section, a country music section over here, and then everything else is in the middle. So I can't wait to get that done so I can show you guys that. I can do more cassette videos. I've got some hardware updates that I need to show. Just to kind of give you guys a gear breakdown. Maybe I'll do another room tour. Everybody seems to like those. So guys, I've rambled on for 32 minutes. Thank you so much for hanging in there. As always, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting the like button, giving me a thumbs up, and thank you for always leaving comments. It's great. While it may take me a while to get back to your comments, I will always heart your comments to let you know that I have seen your comment. I appreciate those comments, but eventually, as time allows, I will reply to your comments. So thank you guys so much for hanging in there. You guys are the best. Hope you all are doing well. Take care. Until next time. Peace.